Yes, thank you for the introduction. Yes, so my name is Szymon Warszawski. I'm affiliated with Central Institute for Labor Protection National Research Institute in Poland, and I am a young researcher, and I will have this immense honor to present my very first oral presentation, so thank you for the possibility. And as you can probably tell from the title, my research was mostly motivated by the question which one of these factors, so precarious work, psychosocial working conditions, and job satisfaction, are the best predictors, which one of these influence the well-being the most. Before we delve a little bit more into the results of the research that was conducted, I would like to expand a little bit more on my background and motivations. So, it is a very well-known fact that working conditions strongly affect mental health and psychological well-being. However, a lot of research right now is focused on the mental health in general, which by many researchers is thought to consist of two spectrums, one being negative one and the other being positive one. So mental health in this understanding consists of the positive states of mind, positive states of mind, desirable ones, and mental disorders as well. So I was interested how working conditions would affect solely positive state, positive end of spectrum of mental health. And to add another variable, and I have decided to add another variable, which is precarious work, which I believe is, in fact, in my opinion, is insufficiently explored at the moment. So, sorry. Okay. So, to measure and to examine which one of these factors influences the well-being the most, I have used three scales. One being very well known, the very first one being very well known Copenhagen psychosocial questionnaire, the second version. And through explanatory data analysis, I have selected three mostly correlated with psychological well-being scales, which were quantitative demands, influence, and job satisfaction. I have decided to select only three out of Copenhagen's psychosocial questionnaire in order not to create a model which will be too complex, which will be hard to interpret. And also the most correlated factors, if precarious work would be if precarious work would be the most correlated, more correlated than these factors, then in fact it would be probably most important factor in this context. So the second measure was the EPRES-2 scale, and it was actually used to measure how precarious working conditions were in the sample. And the last questionnaire was World Health Organization 5 Wellbeing Index, which is very well-known index, proven to be sensitive in detecting any changes in well-being, as well being effective in detection of affective disorders such as mild and severe depression. So to start with the sample consisted of 1,057 workers from the Polish population. Study sample consisted of 528 females and 529 males. So in terms of gender, the sample was roughly equal. And the youngest participant was 19 years old, and the oldest one was 62 years old. Data were collected using computer-assisted web interview, and it was conducted by the external company, which had certificates ensuring the data quality. Yes, and before proceeding any further, several types of models were tested to examine the relationship between predictors and psychological well-being, and the linear model provided the best fit. The linear model was after also compared with regularization techniques, model with linear model with regularization technique, and the differences were not drastically different. So I have decided to stay with the linear model, which in fact was step model with relative importance calculated. So before I have proceeded with evaluation of the model, I checked all the assumptions for the linear model. So normality of residuals was assessed using QQ plot. Heteroscedasticity was examined using Levin test, and multicollinearity was evaluated using correlation heat map and WIF statistics. And I have decided to use both correlation heat map and WIF statistics because WIF statistics would be a neat indication for multicollinearity, but correlation heat map would also give me some information about the validity and whether the results obtained on the sample were consistent with the current state of the art. So with this approach, I could control for the group may be very specific or not random enough. So this is a QQ plot for the residuals, and as you can see, it roughly follows the normal distribution. And the correlation heat map, I don't know if everyone can see, but from the top on the y-axis we have well-being, precarity, job satisfaction, sense of influence, and quantitative demands. And in short, not to get into it too much, the results of correlation heat map, in my opinion, were consistent, although precarity has shown correlation weaker than would be expected if we think of precarity as being a causing factor of worst well-being. So linear regression model statistics, the model explained 32% of the variance in psychological well-being, and was statistically significant. As we can see, the WIF statistic for every variable is less than 10. It's actually less than 2, so model multicollinearity wasn't an issue. And the relative importance for every variable was, in order from the highest to the lowest, was as follows. Job satisfaction was indicated to have the highest relative importance, then followed by quantitative demands, influence, and precarity was actually the last of the variables of the predictors, which is quite counter. It's not entirely consistent with our current knowledge, so the results turned out to be actually quite surprising. So obviously there is a possibility that precarity might not be influencing solely positive state of mental health, a positive spectrum of mental health, but in my deduction and in my understanding, I am rather cautious because the subject is still being examined and researched. So other possible explanations that I came up with, and there's actually 4 of them. So the very first, and in my opinion, one that might be the most significant one, is that the measure tools used in the research might not fully capture nuances in the Polish population, because we do not really have any tool that would give us possibility to measure precarity other than the EPRES-2 in the Polish adaptation. However, the precarity is very closely tied to the legal system and to how also to the administration of the organization, to company. That's how, when we take a tool, even if it's adapted, this might not entirely in its very core structure reflect what is going on in the legal system. So it might not load the scales in a way that we would want it to. Another thing is historical and social factors may have shaped resilience and attitudes towards working Polish population, and this is something that I actually have read in the Mrozowiecki and Mr. Mrozowiecki and Chapman paper, and it shows that attitudes towards the work in the Polish population might be a little bit different. Because of the different history and the reason that Poland was behind the Iron Curtain. Another reason for the differences would be that the labor market and social support structures may reduce the impact of precarity, and the social support structures were not checked in our research. So maybe people from our sample were actually in some kind of a unions or were functioning in a company which have very well developed social structures that would in fact reduce precarity or impact of precarity. And the last one is that although the people in our research were working in a precarious conditions, their job satisfaction for some reason was high, and because of that there could be covariance of job satisfaction that had effect on precarity, that had an effect on influence of precarity on well-being. And obviously, I believe that greater focus on the Polish context and further research could provide more valuable insights into the relationship between work conditions and well-being, and in order to check whether our results are consistent, we need to have further research. So that would be it, and this is one page of references. And the second one. And thank you very much for your attention. And I will be